Hey, this is Jeff with the Jeff Show. Welcome. We have Araceli with us today, and of course Sharon, my co-host. How's it going, Sharon?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Araceli. How's it
I
going?
apologize for my dogs.
Oh no,
There's a
you're
lot
fine.
today.
No. You
Hello,
know,
Jeff and Sharon. Thank you for having me.
yes. Thank you for joining us. And my dog
Yes.
always barks. I just say it's Cujo, and she is auditioning for the next Stephen King movie, so she's practicing her growls. So we're good. Thank you for
That's
joining
awesome.
us on this Sunday evening, Monday morning,
Yes, Monday for
and
Sharon.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've heard any of our episodes yet. I think you have. You were listening to the car, right? You've heard some a while
Yes,
ago, so you
yes,
know
I was.
kind of
You
where
guys
things are.
got into depth with John Wayne Gacy, so
Yeah.
it's great.
And I think Sharon, did you help us find our Sally? I don't recall.
Yes. I
Yes.
did. Yes.
Right?
I did a call out. Yes.
That was excellent.
Yeah, and I think we were following. I'm not sure if you guys are in other Facebook pages. I think it was either Beauty of Postmortem Photography,
Could
um,
be.
or the Macabre
Yeah. It
for
was, yeah. I'm on both of those, I think.
I
Yeah.
think
So,
so. I'd be
yeah.
surprised if we're not
Yeah.
watching those. And so Sharon brought you to us because of your profession. So I think
yes.
you're first getting into mortuary science. What got you into this field?
Oh Jesus. Okay, so I've been in the funeral industry for now going on 11 to 12 years. Um, it wasn't my intended plan. I was raised in El Centro, California, so it's a very small valley. We only have like two funeral homes there. But I guess what I can say about me getting in the business was because of my grandparents. I was raised by my grandparents, and they lived in a like an assisted senior living. And you can say that my best friends at that age, maybe when I was 12 or 13, were like elderly people.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
yeah, and they were my grandparents' friends, so I would go visit them, make sure they were okay. And I believe my the first death that I encountered was their neighbor. And it it impacted me because I would visit him every single day. And when I saw like the paramedics and the ambulance outside his apartment, I was stunned, I was shocked. And mind you, I was 13 years old, and that's the conversation that my grandparents had with me about death. And my grandpa clearly said to me, he sat me down and he said, "That's gonna be me one day. Uh, and it happens, it's gonna happen to your grandma, it's gonna happen to everyone, and you need to be prepared." And so he pulls out these files of like pre-need arrangements that he had made with my grandmother, and he explained what I needed to do just in case to help my mom out. And because of that, I feel like I got intrigued into the aspect of the funeral process. And then obviously when he passed away, that's when I learned more. And I guess it was when we did the arrangements at the funeral home, it was the person who was with us during the arrangements was just very cold, very blunt. Like it was just kind of like
Very
selling a
impersonal.
car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Selling a
just like
car.
yeah, like
Yeah.
no empathy, no compassion. And that was my first death in the family. And so it was for my dad and my mom. And my mom wanted nothing to do with it. She just wanted me and my dad to handle it. And we didn't think much of it until we transported him over to Mexico. That's where his interment was. And we saw him in his casket, and it looked nothing like my grandfather. My grandfather was a very skinny, tall man, and he looked like he had gained weight in a span of days. And I didn't understand why. And now I do. So it's not, hopefully, it's not the mortician's fault, but I thought to myself, I don't want anyone to go through this.
You think it
And
was
so,
was like
I'm
an
sorry.
embalming mishap? You think that could have happened?
I think so. And because my grandfather passed away from brain hemorrhage, I might maybe his neck and his face got very swollen because of it, and it could have been an embalming process or situation. I want to think of it now, but back then I didn't think of it that way.
Right.
Yeah. And because of my grandparents, that's when I started, maybe this is what I want to do. And I looked into it and I thought to myself, it's very hard to get into school. Well, here in California, I don't know how in Colorado or, in other locations.
No idea. I'm sure it's not the easiest thing to do
No.
to get into.
So I looked and I'm like, I think my first thing to do would just uh, get into it as a receptionist and work my way up and then figure out if this is for me. And so I had applied at various funeral homes in San Diego at that time, but I was called to a Cathedral City location. And I went, I got interviewed. And fun fact, for throughout my whole career, I was wearing a wig because I had blue hair. And I was very nervous in my interview because I was like, I hope they can't tell that I'm wearing a wig. I hope they can't tell that I have facial piercings because I had taken them all off. And the lady who interviewed me, Kim, she's still in the funeral business, was so sweet. And she hired me. So me thinking I was going to work in Cathedral City, I end up getting a studio there, but then they call me in San Diego that, to work there. I didn't know that there were sister companies. So they were both mom and pop's funeral homes that they were owned by the same owner. So I was like, oh my God, okay, I guess I'll go to San Diego and work there, which is fine. And that day that I had my orientation and interview, it wasn't the lady that interviewed me, it was with my actual boss. Me and my coworker we were together in the orientation. We were just waiting there and we just hear yelling and screaming. And we look at each other like, what's going on? We thought it was a family, but it was our boss and we hadn't met him yet.
Wow.
And we were a little bit terrified. We were like, oh my God, what's happening? And then all of a sudden, the door opens and here comes storming a young woman off and she just tells him to fuck off. She leaves. And he comes out like nothing happened, like, oh, hi. Welcome to Bayview. I'm going to say Bayview. And he seems like a sweet guy, very, very sweet, but I don't know what happened. And his apprentice at that time came out, and all she said to us was, welcome to Hell Week.
Oh.
Good. That's a nice welcome.
Oh.
Yeah. And we didn't know how to take it. And she just mentioned how, this new employee quit. So there was nobody working there. So then my boss decides to bring other people in, and I was a receptionist for a while. But then that person that he brought in as an arranger also quit because of the animosity and the behavior of what was going on at the facility.
Okay.
And so he just throws me in there. You're going to meet with families. I had no idea what to do. I had no education. I had no consent of the forms. What am I giving these families? That was my thought. So I had to get my stuff in order. Kim was very helpful. She made a little binder for me. I took the forms home. I studied them. I read every little fine print in case the family asks. And my boss never taught me. It was pretty much sink or swim. And then I remember sitting down on that, the person who just left the building on her chair. And there was a stack of death certificates under her chair. And families were calling, like, it's been a month, it's been 2 months, we haven't received our death certificates, what's going on? I had to put out so many fires without even knowing how the funeral industry worked.
So you're thinking,
Yes,
is it worth it
yeah.
at this point? It's like the pay, but it's the stress.
The
But
stress.
yeah. But how many jobs you go into? It's kind of common nowadays just to get thrown into it. You coming into
Mhm.
a shit show, pretty
Mhm.
much.
It's
So many
true.
toxic work
And
environments.
how do you cope with families, but I think you take it from within. The reason why you took the job is the compassion of people, right? So that's the right business to be in. It's customer service of a very different kind, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you need to care in order for you to actually be like, okay, this is for me. I'll have some patience. Because if it's not, then yeah, there you are out the door.
So this is your first week. And it sounds like, I'm assuming things get better, or do you stay at the same company, or do you
Do you leave?
do you leave elsewhere? Someone else save you.
I stayed at that company for about 6 years.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
I
Did
did.
it-
I managed, the pay was not that great,
Yeah.
but it was so nice to feel like I was actually good at something, if that makes sense. Um, I started off very, very slow, just meeting with families, and he at one point got very aggressive towards me, maybe because of my appearance, because he knew that I had a wig and I had piercings, but I never showed that to my families. They thought I was just a normal person, normal, quote unquote normal.
Right.
And uh, he would give me so much attitude. He made me feel unwanted in the workplace. And it was just myself and his accountant working. So she would help me by answering the phones, and I was just the only one meeting with families. And I got so tired, you guys, of him always telling me or putting me down, that I had to talk with him. And I'm like, hey, listen, I'm here to help you and help your business. I don't know what else you want from me, but I'm serious about this job and I'm serious about furthering my education. And ever since then, he stopped, quote unquote, harassing me. And it was a better work environment. And I felt like I gained his trust. And then he had me, setting up identification viewings, doing removals, actually doing cosmetics for them. And he gave me that opportunity. So once we both gained each other's trust, I kind of asked him like, hey, I know that this is kind of backwards because I wanted to go to school first and then do my apprenticeship. But I asked him, do you mind if I'm your apprentice and I work with you and then I'll go to school? And at one point he was fine. So that was my drive there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get an apprenticeship here. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna fight for it. And he was having family problems, so he was rarely there at the funeral home. So it was just me by myself. So obviously, by law, I can't do anything because I'm not licensed.
Right.
So I took it upon myself. I was like, you know what? I have to do it on my own. I can't depend on this guy to give me an apprenticeship. I'll just go to school. And sure enough, I applied at Cypress College. They focus on mortuary science, so health science. And I'm like, well, I need to apply at another job. So that's where I looked at Forest Lawn, because they were kind of very close together. The school and Forest Lawn, Cypress are so close together. And sure enough, I got into the mortuary science program. And so I gave my 2-week notice in San Diego. And then I got hired at Forest Lawn.
Much more fun.
Yeah.
Doesn't Forest Lawn have, is it Glendale and Hollywood Hills? Is it pretty much two cemeteries that they're kind of connected to?
Yes, they have West Covina, they have Hollywood Hills, they have Glendale, and they have another one in Cathedral City, but they go by Douglas and Zook. So it's a different name, but it's still Forest Lawn.
Okay.
So they have a lot of companies within Orange County and Los Angeles County and Cathedral City.
And how close does your facility, is it near the cemeteries? Do you get to go there yourself often when you were working there?
You mean in Forest Lawn?
Yes.
Oh, well, it's a memorial park, so it's both the funeral home and the cemetery are all in one. And at Forest Lawn, I was a funeral director, so I was just strictly meeting with families and I was directing the services. So we would go to an outside church service or in-house church at Forest Lawn facilities or just night visitations.
So you're coming across, these are pretty famous cemeteries, right? I mean, Lucille
Yes.
Ball is at Hollywood Hills and Carrie Fisher,
Yes.
Clark Gable. So, I mean, without name dropping, how many times did you come across celebrities and helped with their arrangements? Again, you don't have to say names.
You know what? I will be honest, I have not came across uh seeing any celebrity. Um, but I mean, other locate it wasn't Cypress. Forest on Cypress had didn't have a lot of celebrities. It was mainly Glendale that did.
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't witness that, sadly.
They have a lot there. And
Yes, Michael Jackson's there.
yeah, Michael Jackson's there. Uh,
Yeah.
Brittany Murphy, like my family, we're huge Brittany Murphy fans. I think Clueless is a guilty pleasure movie that we watch all the time, right?
Same. Same. I
Can't
love
help it. Black Book, Just Married. She was great. She was a
Yeah,
great actor. It's
yeah,
very sad and
too
a very
young
too young and such a weird tragic story with her husband too
with her
passed
husband.
away
It's true.
of pneumonia, right, and something else. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. And my wife want to ask because she's from California. I am too, but I
Ooh,
was born in Ridgecrest, California. I don't know if you ever heard of Ridgecrest.
no.
It's near Trona. It's probably about an hour from Trona, the entrance to Death Valley.
Hmm.
And my wife, she was neutralized in Norwalk. So she's from Norwalk.
Okay.
So we'd visit Hollywood and Norwalk quite a bit. You know,
Hmm.
when we've been married for 13 years. So this is at the very beginning before we had kids, so we could be adventurous and do things. And just the history there is crazy. And she was asking about the crystal cathedrals, I think, at either Glendale or Hollywood Hills. The cathedrals have a lot of crystals in them as art. I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm not sure. She probably means Long Beach.
Could be.
There was like it looks kind of like a pendulum for Forest Lawn, and then they said that Phantasm was recorded there. Um, but I guess it looks like it, but they're not too sure if that's where it's actually uh, filmed in Long Beach. So, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure about the crystals. So,
that's a good question because I know Phantasm. I'm a big fan of that movie. I mean, I think if you're in the funerary industry, you got to love the tall man, right?
yes,
He's
exactly.
kind of like he's the boss I'd love to work for, shrinking down people into midget form and put them in capsules. Although I was disappointed as that movie progressed. I thought it was more like evil, maybe even satanic, but it would turn out they're like aliens. I mean, that's such a weird plot twist. Okay, they're aliens. Why not?
It's true.
Still a good movie.
It is.
Do you ever, as far as just talking about the cemeteries, do you ever do any like grave rubbings?
No, no grave robbings.
No, rubbings, not robbings.
Oh, I thought you said grave robbing. I'm like,
I was
oh
like, hey,
no.
you could tell me, do you go
it did
rob
sound like
graves?
robbing.
It's
No.
my Colorado accent that I developed over the last 5 years.
Um, when you say okay, rubbing,
Yes, like wax paper, crayon to get their name off of the
Gotta
grave.
get the print.
Yeah.
I actually I did for Frank Sinatra. And it's not even in Forest Lawn, but I wanted to take a little trip on my own. Um, and his marker says Francis Albert Sinatra. Well, now they changed it. I don't know why, but the markers changed. So it doesn't
Hmm.
look like it was in the 60s. Um, but that was one of them that I did. And I remember my ex-fiance did a shirt um, with the rubbings of it. And obviously I did it for my grandparents too. And
Yeah,
so I have those. Yeah.
that's cool. I used
Mhm.
to do that, but when I was in Arizona, but it was just random graves because I would hang out in the cemetery quite a bit, and that was because we didn't have anybody famous there really. So yeah, that's great. So kind of so you went to mortuary science, and then but now you're going towards an apprenticeship in embalming, right?
Yes. So
So
I'm currently embalming now. So I have 1 year embalming and I need one more year and then I can be an official licensed embalmer.
What made you go on that path?
I guess I just wanted all of the general aspects of the funeral industry. I was doing arrangements, I was meeting with families and directing services, and I felt I need to progress. And like I said, I wanted to be an embalmer when I was back with Bayview when I wanted my apprenticeship, and I didn't get that, so that's why I had to go to school and do it the long way. And then I'm finally able to get an apprenticeship now that I have all my requirements for school completed.
That makes sense. Like, so you want to progress, and it's definitely way different, more hands-on, right?
Very, very hands-on, and it's just a beautiful feeling. I mean, not it's just knowing the fact that you're making someone look alive, you know, even though they passed away. It's just a good feeling too when families come back and they say, "Oh my God, it looks like my mom or my dad was just sleeping and they're resting." And it's such a good feeling to do that because it is hard. Um, it depends on the condition of how they passed away. Sometimes, they
Gonna ask, yeah, like open caskets, like what point do you go, okay, no, we cannot
Yeah.
do an open casket?
if the decedent suffered from trauma, like if they're in the medical examiner or coroner's office and we feel like it's a bad idea, we usually let the family know that it is a bad idea. But sometimes families are very adamant and they still want to see. So we might suggest like an identification viewing just for the immediate family, but they have to sign a waiver. That means that, they're we told them not to see them, and you can't come back at us and say, "Oh my God, why did you let me see my loved one this way?"
Mhm.
I can
Is
imagine.
there any, uh, is there any point where you can go, nope, like if there's no head or something,
Uh,
then we need to just go, nope.
like me saying,
Like you making the decision, going, it's no, there's no way you're viewing this body.
yes. So usually when we get cases that have been found at home and they're decomp and they get into our care and it's been maybe 4 to 5 months that the decedent has been found and then brought into our care. And that stage of like just decomp is irreversible. And the smell is it's not
Mhm.
great. So
Right.
we just suggest the family, listen, there's no way you can view them. The best we can do is place them in a double body bag and somewhat conceal the odor. You'll still smell it, but that's the best we can do. Other than that, you're not able to even open the bag.
Wow. What would make people want to see them that badly? I would think like religious reasons, right? It's part of their last rites where the family maybe.
Actually, it's not even religious purposes. Sometimes they don't believe that their loved one has passed away, or they haven't seen them in years,
Oh,
Okay.
and they just want to make sure it's them, or how do they look, or
denial.
We could take a
exactly.
we'll take a photo and we'll crop it. The best part. I promise you this is all you want to see. Right?
No, I wish we can let them know with pictures, but we can't take any pictures of the decedents unless the family signs something and authorizes it as well. We
Oh
can't
wow.
take any pictures.
Just legal reasons they're worried it might leak somehow.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
It's no, it's bad.
So ideally, what's someone passed away, what's the longest you can wait, or how long do you have to wait before you can embalm? Is it kind of like a right away process?
It depends. It depends on the family. The legal next of kin or the person with right of disposition needs to give us the okay to embalm. It could be a verbal or it could be a written consent. We usually take written consents. They're way better than verbal. But until the family gives us the okay to embalm, we embalm.
Yeah,
We can't just touch the decedent if we don't have any okay by the family.
So
that makes
you
sense.
don't get Jane Doe's, John Doe's.
I haven't had any John Doe's. Usually, the medical examiner here in San Diego is very good about identifying the decedent, and it just depends on some funeral homes. They do take like what we call public administrator cases, which have a lot of John Doe's and Jane Doe's that they have no identification. But we haven't had that at our facility for a while.
And with those cases, they probably wouldn't be involved anyways, right? Because there's no one really to view them since they can identify them.
No, not really. If they're like a public administrator cases, they usually go through a process of finding relatives and sending out letters, and then they usually get cremated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will that be a future career path for you as well?
I've done
Cremation or
cremations.
okay.
I've done cremations at my first job too, but it was only for like 5 months. Um, but the heat is intense, and I'm a very short gal, so I felt it. I felt
Oh,
everything on
yeah.
me. Uh,
It
but
must
it's just so sad to. I was very sad to be there because some families do like witness cremations, which the family just, they either push the button or they push the container inside the retort, and that's very hard to see.
yeah.
Mm, that
And
really is like goodbye. That's yeah.
Yeah. Both my grandparents were cremated and when I was a kid, they would tell me that's how they want to go. And I'm like, what's cremation? It goes, oh, they're gonna, burn us essentially. And as a kid, I'm like, what? No, I don't want you to burn. It's such a harsh thing to hear. And
yeah, it's true.
and when my grandfather, he passed about 13 years ago. I'm 47, so he was always old since I've known him. And it seems like the ashes were not just ashes, they were mixed with something, isn't it? Like, is it kitty litter or is it sand that they might mix the ashes with?
No, they don't mix ashes with anything. If I may ask, did your grandfather have like any like a hip replacement or anything like any titanium, any?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would have to ask. I don't think so. It just seemed weird. I thought my parents said that they mixed it with something because it wasn't just straight ash.
Well,
It
not that that
seemed
makes any difference, but it is supposed to be ashes.
yeah,
I don't know. Was he placed in a sort of like a wood container or is it a cardboard?
it was a plastic bag in a box.
Okay.
Yeah,
It just depends also how the decedent uh
yeah,
cremates, but
yeah,
I can assure you they don't mix it with anything else. I will be honest, it's not that they are commingling ashes, but there is some residue left
yeah,
over from other cremations that have been done. Um, and it does state that on some of the forms that they do their best to place all of your loved one's remains all in one container, but there's going to be some overage of other cremated remains.
that makes sense. Yeah, and then their ashes that were spread out there in Death Valley. That's where they enjoyed it. That's I'll have to tell it well because you don't know my story. I'll keep it brief. So my
Tell me.
I tell this almost every time, especially for California. So my grandparents and my dad in 1969 they were out in Death Valley and they had a place called Wild Rose Station. It's no longer there, just the foundation. The 21 meal team used to pass by there. So it was a gas station, small restaurant. They had some cabins. And this is when Charles Manson was staying out at Barker Ranch with the Manson family. So they would go there quite a bit. The Manson girls would go to the restaurant. They would breastfeed and freak out my dad, who was a teenager. And then my grandparents claimed that they helped the park rangers find the Manson family because they had set fire to some road construction equipment. So my grandparents' claim to fame is that they helped turn in the Manson family for robbery before they were known about the murders. And I don't know if they were telling me the truth, but they said that afterwards they were trying to find my grandparents and the remaining family to get revenge on them. I don't think that's true. I think they were
Oh,
pulling my leg, but that's kind of what got me into true crime. So yeah,
wow.
that's loving Death Valley. Is have you ever been? I don't know if you're into true crime, but have you been to like Spawn Ranch?
No, I have not.
Definitely a cool place to go. I haven't gone there yet. I know that there's tours that go there. There's a guy, Stoner Van Houten's on YouTube, and he used to write Charles Manson. And they still like. There's a lot of people that were pen pals of his. Michael Channels. I don't know if you ever heard of his name.
Mm-mm.
California as well. They're big pen pals of Charles Manson. So yeah, there's different sites that you can go to, and we can get a little bit more. I still want to talk more about embalming, but yeah, a side story on where my grandparents' ashes were spread and family history. These are probably things that we should talk on the side so you kind of know like where we're coming from. I think beforehand we were talking about Sharon and I being our true crime and our pen pals, and that seems like a new world to you, perhaps, and you're seem pretty curious about that, right? That's
Yes, very interested. I've never
yeah,
met anyone who are pen pals with,
it's a huge.
Yeah.
I guess it's I'd say underground thing, but it's a very huge thing. It's a very
Yeah.
big culture, and then there's different types of people in it. It's there's drama in it, as with anything else. It's very interesting, and it becomes time consuming.
I bet.
But going back to so embalming, what's like the biggest challenge of? I mean, can you talk about some of the process
Yes,
of
of
Mm.
course.
how you do it?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, so as previously mentioned, each person is very different from either the way that they passed away or age plays a huge factor, or trauma. Um, Decedents who have suffered trauma like accidents or homicide or suicides are much more elaborate to work on just because they do have they have autopsies sometimes, and those take a little bit longer. You have to put a little more love into that. Um, but the most important thing for me now that I am embalming is just the way mouths are closed and how hands are placed. That's the first thing that families do see is the way their mouth is closed and how the hand placement. Sometimes decedents do have arthritis or they're in a fetal position and it's a little bit harder to embalm that way.
Yeah.
Uh, so those are a lot of challenges. But usually, my starting, if I were to walk you on a good day of embalming, this person's will be hopefully easy. Uh, I make I make sure that they're placed okay on my table. I disinfect them. I rinse them. I wash them. I clean their mouths and their nose. But it's very important to always check the tag and identification. I don't want to embalm someone that does not need to be embalmed. Uh, so checking the paperwork is very crucial. Checking, hopefully we have a picture just so we can get an idea how they look. Um, any facial hair or if the decedent wants any special instructions. I love when families are so detailed and they're like, oh, can you please cut my loved one's toenails or can you shave her legs or shave her armpits? It's great, they pay attention to that. So after they're on the table, you tend to also break rigor mortis because they are in a state of just they're like a statue, so to say. So you try to like just bend their arms. We don't break anything. So a lot of people have that misconception that we break things or break bones. We don't. It's just kind of bending and unfreezing their state of position.
Is there
So
different techniques for that? Can you warm like the muscle a little bit to help it kind of rejuvenate?
not warming them, you can massage it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's kind of like just either bending and just bending their fingers.
Was your
Their
first time was it pretty nerve wracking? Worried that you're going to break him because it just doesn't really comply with how you want to move as much.
Yes, the first time that I was doing my clinicals, I was a little bit, I did, you feel like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like I'm hurting you.
Yeah.
And that was my first thought process, like, I am so sorry, I'm doing this. But then you cut them and you're like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you. But then eventually you have to get yourself to think this is for a good cause or the family wants this.
I've got a really horrible story about breaking bones, but
Oh,
not
let's
from
hear
a
it.
mortician, not from a mortician's point of view. There is a family member that passed away in the toilet from a drug overdose, and they literally had to snap some of his bones to get him out.
Oh my God. And
So
who had to break it? Like the paramedics or like
yeah,
the
the people that removed him out. So
yeah.
yeah, it's yeah.
Oh wow.
That's like awful. Because I thought that when rigor mortis sets in, it like takes 24 hours for full rigor mortis. But then I always thought that after a certain period of time, everything started to go soft again.
No. Um,
No.
it's from the 24 to 36 hours. Yes, you're right. But you're still able to break it. Uh,
Uh,
there comes a period where rigor mortis does set in, but the first hours when someone passes away, they're very warm. That's when the body just becomes very, very warm. And then after rigor sets, it's in that state. That's why a lot of families do place like a, I want to say like a cloth under their mouth so it doesn't open. Because once some decedents pass away, their mouths are always open. And
okay.
it's a little bit harder to close the mouth. It is doable, but we manage to, like I said, quote unquote, break it. But sometimes if we can't, we do need to let the family know and be honest with the family of what we can and we can't do.
Okay.
That makes sense. And then you have to use certain other, I don't want to call them props, but like for the eyes, isn't there like an eyelid cover you can put in there to help keep the eye form?
Yes, yes, like they're eye caps.
Yeah.
So we do place them and it does hold the eyelids in place. Um, as well as mouth formers. So, sometimes elderly decedents that sometimes the families don't bring dentures in, so we have to make it seem like they have their teeth in. So we place mouth formers. Um, and there's about 3 different types of ways that you can close a mouth. Either you can suture it or you can use a needle injector. So it's kind of looks like a gun and you shoot both gums, the upper and the lower gums, with 2 wires, and then you close it. Um, so it just depends on what you want to use or what's appropriate for the decedent, whether you want to just suture the mouth with ligature or use a gun, so to say.
That's personal preference to which one you use.
I was first taught to use a needle injector, which is the gun, but I
Yep.
don't like doing that. I love suturing because it looks much more natural and it makes it look like the mouth won't open at all. Sometimes with the needle injector, the mouth might prop open, and that's something that you don't want to do.
And you mentioned facial hair. So is that kind of a hard thing to have to work with? If you have to shave them, if they wanted a certain style, does it still cut the same? Skin still kind of pliable?
We tend to shave, or I tend to shave before embalming, because once embalming fluid hits the body, then the skin changes, it's more hard, and there might be a possibility of more like nicking the skin and having the skin come off. So I like to do it beforehand, but it is a little bit tricky. And if I find myself that I don't want to shave, I like to tweeze. I will spend hours there probably, but
Yeah.
it's a safer method rather than nicking the skin, you know?
Yeah. Because if you nick the skin, especially you don't want to do it after embalming because it could be some leakage, right? That's an open sore.
Yes, and then it would be more of a restorative art for the person who does the cosmoing, like
Yeah.
probably putting on wax, and that's unnecessary, and then the person won't look as natural, you know?
Have you come across anybody with any weird requests, such as like they have tattoos and they want them removed and preserved?
I would love, but that would be considered mutilation in a
Yeah.
way. Um, I've never gotten a request like that when it comes to embalming, but I did get a weird request when I did a cremation back in my old job, and I will always remember this forever. I guess it was his brother, and we were cremating his brother, and he said, "My brother loved barbecue." And he mentioned that he wanted to get cremated with barbecue sauce poured all over him.
Oh boy.
And I looked at Michael, which was our crematory operator. I'm like, Michael, can we do that? Or is that allowed? And he's like, as long as they write it that they want that done, but we're not providing the barbecue. So I talked to the brother and I'm like, hey, listen, we could definitely do that for you. However, you need to bring your own barbecue sauce. And he was fine with it. And he brought like 3 bottles of barbecue. He did a witness cremation and he poured barbecue all over his brother.
He
Oh,
needs a
did it
little,
change the smell?
you gotta have the
Did
lather
it?
It, I don't want to sound morbid, but it did smell like barbecue. It smelled really good. You could smell the sauce.
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
And to me, the brother was
Yeah.
just laughing, having a good time. And I'm like, hey, if that makes you happy and if that makes your brother happy, I
Yeah.
hope that made your brother happy.
That's pretty cool. Wow. I don't know. After that, if I'd see barbecue the same again with the smell. It'd be like, Henry, you smell good. Wow.
That was my weird request. But there's people think like, oh, that's a weird request, but a lot of
At
people have
first,
their, yeah, have their things, and
yeah.
that's the beauty of it.
As long as he didn't put an apple in the mouth and like little pineapple pieces on them, then maybe is it a little too far the barbecue that you go with that? I don't know. I mean, I don't have any brothers. If any family members that I want to do that, I don't know. I'm not against it, and I don't know. It's cool though.
yeah, but it would be really bad though, having the cremation and then getting hungry.
Yeah, so
I
lunch is
know.
Oh,
on me.
I think I want some barbecue.
That that would almost. I mean, yeah. That's kind of like cannibal kind of territory.
Yeah.
It's a little.
It's
It's
I
a
never
fine
thought of
line.
that way, but it's true. But
Yeah.
that made him happy,
Yeah.
and we were
No,
happy to be
no.
on my datum.
That's a great story. So, other than your first hell week, do you have like any like difficult bad experience that sticks out that you can talk about? Anything that's like, oh, I'm glad I survived that day.
Uh, yes, I have two stories. One as an arranger, and the other one as an embalmer. Uh, when you said Hell Week, with that short span of that Hell Week, the month after, I first had a very difficult case. For me, children are it's very sad when you have to deal with that because of
Yeah.
the family, and it's just they're not meant to pass away so soon.
Right.
And I remember we had this 5-year-old in our care. That was my first time dealing with a young decedent. And the mom was just devastated. This was her only child, and he passed away from cancer. He was at St. Jude's Hospital. And when we had him in our care, he had like a huge abscess on his cheek, like it was ready to pop. And the mom was followed us to the funeral home. She wanted to view him every single day. He was going to get cremated, but she wanted to be there. And it was just it was very sad.
Yeah.
I had to take him out of the cooler and prepare him for his identification viewing, and the poor child smelled very bad. And we had no minimal preparation, so the mom just wanted to view him as is. So I placed him on the table in his cardboard container unit, and I explained to her that there was going to be a slight odor, but she just did not listen to me. She was just focused on her son. And what happened was she hugged him so tight that the abscess popped on her.
Yeah.
And I could smell it. And I know she could smell it, but she ignored it. And she still kissed him. She was covered in it. And I couldn't help but get frozen.
Why? Hang on.
And I froze, and
Yeah.
she just pulls out his favorite duck, and she just continues to caress his hair. She's just there talking to him, and I'm never gonna forget that. The way that it made me feel was very hard.
Yeah. That's that's the one thing that I don't know if I could do, especially being a parent now. When I was younger before kids, it'd still be hard. But even now, I couldn't imagine having that's got to be the hardest part of your job, right?
Yeah,
Is that,
it is.
and you
It
seem
really is.
very empathetic. And I know that it seems like you talk as I would if I would treat them like a friend for a moment. They're still a person, whether it's just the shell of the person. They're still present.
Exactly.
If you're thinking spiritually, still, it's still yeah. And so you're in my care today. I would, with their name, I call them their name, Bob. I'm gonna take care of you today, right? I'm gonna make sure you look good. And yeah, that was
Exactly.
a career path I was a bit interested in, but I don't know anymore if I could because of the kid part. I don't know. So, right, that's
It's true.
story.
It's very
Yeah,
sad to deal with children and that. And if I can get personal with you guys, at
yeah,
that point, I mean, I hadn't experienced any loss, but eventually I was in the funeral business, obviously, and I was pregnant and I had a miscarriage. So after a while, I had refused to direct children's services. I didn't want I didn't
yeah.
want to deal with it. I was still grieving and I didn't want to I didn't want to see that. I don't want to
No,
experience anything or see the mom and the dad upset, you know?
no, no way. I think it affects you differently being a parent. I just think it does. No offense to if you're not a parent and I know you're still affected, but it's a different bond. You almost see every kid as like your kid in a way, right? You see a kid, you want to parent them in a good way. Like you feel affection for every child out there.
Yeah,
So yeah. So
exactly.
have you ever gone back since then with helping with children?
Well, now I have to embalm them.
Yeah.
So I remember when was doing my clinicals, the last decedent was a baby, and I didn't want to tell my professor or my supervising embalmer I don't want to do it.
Right.
But I just I covered behind my mask. I was crying. I turned around like I wasn't paying attention, and I had to tell my mom. I had to tell myself I have to get over this. I
Yeah.
have to get over this.
You can't pick and choose. That's if you're working for a facility that you got to do everyone that comes in.
Yeah. And sure enough, as an apprentice, my I think one of my first like 20 cases, one of them was an infant.
Yeah.
And my supervising embalmer, I told her, hey, listen, I'm having a rough time. Can you please stay here with me? Like kind of like hold my hand throughout this process, kind of a thing. Um, and to this
That's
day, like holding a baby is just it's it's a lot of emotions. Yeah.
I feel you. That's I'm sorry you had to go through that. That's rough.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So
But now I'm just thinking about them and it's just like I put my feelings aside and it's like this is to help out a family. Hopefully they get some closure and that's what gets me through. It's like they'll see them, hopefully they're okay.
it seems like a job, especially on those days that you have to really decompress after work, right? You have to have some kind of stress relief, um, something else, watching Disney movies for a couple hours, like what's your go-to to cleanse the palate?
I and that is true. Full House. I'm like over here like give me something cute. Give me you got it, dude. Give me
Yeah.
something that'll distract
Yes.
me from all these bad things at work or just, sleep it off. That's what I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. That's a good thing. I don't watch the new Snow White. That didn't help me decompress anything.
You didn't like it?
I didn't. But I mean, you go into it unfortunately with a lot of bad stigma to it, right? But
Hmm.
set that aside. It's not my favorite Snow White, but but the Stitch movie, the newest one was pretty good.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm not a huge Lilo and Stitch fan.
I wasn't either, but my wife, it's her thing, so I watched it and I enjoyed it. It's good. All right. You said you had that was the first story. You said another second crazy day, possibly talk about.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it still ties in with the baby situation. It's just I wasn't expected to embalm a baby in a short period of my apprenticeship. And the fact that my facility gets a lot of babies at once is just it's just very hard. Um, but
Is
I
there
guess I'm sorry.
is there a reason for that? Why it seems like you get a lot of infants?
I don't know, but they've all been in our care. Half of them are services and half of them are cremations. Sometimes the families just want their babies cremated. It's very rare when we actually have a full blown service, but when we do, that's when we do have to embalm them. But we do get quite a few babies.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you have to force yourself to think about just in case, right? What if I was in those shoes as a parent? What would I want? Would I want them preserved so I can have them with me? I'm very claustrophobic. I'll probably be cremated too, and the thought of being underground frightens me. So I don't like the thought of being buried. It just seems no, it just freaks me out
Me
now.
too. Me too.
I
I
want,
just want to get cremated. I don't know about what Sharon would want. What would you want,
I'm
Sharon?
yeah,
I'm cremated. I want to be cremated, and I want my
Same.
kids to keep me on the mantelpiece. I want
Oh,
to stay there. Or what do they say? Put you in an hourglass so you can still participate in family game nights.
play
yeah.
Boggle.
Love.
That's funny. Mom says time's up, bedtime.
Yep.
I know. I tell all my friends, listen, just make sure that my nails look good, my hair looks good, but don't nobody view me, nobody touch me, just cremate me.
Yeah, one and done. Is there any people that are too large to be cremated, or is just a kiln is not? Is it called a kiln
Well,
or
the
an oven?
retort, yeah, the retort. I think, yeah, a retort. The actually last week we had someone over 500 pounds that was cremated. And they don't fit in a cardboard container, so we have to use like a wood container, and we call it either like an air tray or a combo unit. This person was in an air tray.
Okay.
Um, but we do have two chambers where one's for oversize and then one's for, not for oversize. We do have to cremate the ones that are oversized first, just because they do take longer. But some crematories, sometimes families call, hey, are you able to cremate someone that's over 400 pounds? Some crematories don't have that capacity or those chambers that are adequate to cremate larger people. So they have to go and use another service. So,
I can see it's more of a modern update that you'd have to do because back in the 20s, 40s, 50s, 60s, people were shorter, smaller, so times change and it makes sense. But not everybody's equipped for that.
yeah, it's true.
No, we have a question as far as I don't know how you feel about the paranormal, but have you had any odd occurrences while working? Anything that just made you a new believer or believer even more?
So I've always said, I wish I could witness something paranormal. I have never witnessed, and I even took a trip to Tonopah to the Clown Motel
Yeah.
to try to experience something.
Oh,
And
Tonopah.
Tonopah, yeah,
Oh, you call it
Tonopah.
Tonopah.
I thought it's Tonopah?
I think it's Tonopah.
Tonopah.
Probably depends who you ask.
Okay. I
Yeah.
thought it was, yeah, in Nevada.
Yes.
Um, so at that time, I stayed with my ex-fiance, and sure enough, that was like my birthday gift. I'm like, let's see if we can experience something. We stayed at the hotel, and then we went to that cemetery there. When I tell you I did not experience anything, but he did, the first thing he said, he's like, "Hey, why are you pulling on my blanket?" And I'm like 2 feet away from him, like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, babe, I something just touched me." But I have never experienced anything either there. He has, but I haven't experienced anything at any funeral home that I've been. I don't know if maybe I'm not open to it or they don't like me or
The opposite could be. It's
Yeah.
in his case, it could have been a female and he's male kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't
Could
know if
be.
did he taunt them beforehand. Usually, the disbelievers, the ones who, I mean, if you want to see it, you're not going to see it. So they're like, she's
Yeah.
cool. I'm not going to mess with her because he's expecting it. He's kind of afraid and he's messing with me. So I'm going to play with this guy.
play with him. It
Yeah,
could be,
a good
but
thing.
no, I think my first encounter, but it wasn't really paranormal. The first time I did hear someone just go like that, have that noise of air, like,
For the death
and
rattle.
yes, and I heard it, and I lost it. I was in the cooler by myself, and I'm like, what's going on? What am I hearing things? What's going on? And then eventually that's when I knew that it was normal. It was gas expelling. It was just, death rattle.
Yeah.
Um, it's just a lot of gases, and that's normal. But the first time, that's when you're just like,
By
what am I
yourself
doing?
in a
Yes,
freezer.
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I've only heard descriptions of it, never heard it myself. But I can imagine it'd be a little freaky at the first time.
It is.
That's
It is.
crazy. Because you hear stories where, the person like opens their eyes, perhaps, I feel like you're being looked at. There's like weird occurrences with the body. And you would think that of all places, yours might be the most haunted because it could be if like a trapped spirit there, right?
Hmm.
Confused. Or right at the very beginning, they haven't passed on yet. So you think that would be an opportune time to experience or see something, but not in your case. Not
No,
yet.
not yet. And I knock on wood, hopefully not. I'm hopeful that the hospices and hospitals release their decedents and they make sure that they're 100% passed away.
Yeah, I could see that. Although, unfortunately for me, because I'm big into ghost hunting, I'm gonna be kind of like, hello.
That's like what is it that movie The Autopsy of Jane Doe?
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you guys seen it, but it's
I've
kind
seen
of
it.
like
It's
yeah,
pretty
so
freaky.
yeah.
That's a good
I-
one, but not that extreme. No, we don't want to go that far. Is how far they show in that movie, right?
It's true.
Have you seen any no celebrities as far as burying them or attending funerals? Have you ever come across something that was like a true crime case of a deceased that you had to work with?
Mm, Not necessarily true crime, but like how sometimes you're listening to the news and there's a homicide and they're talking about the husband shot the wife, and then they release the names, and then later we have them in our care, and it's like, oh my goodness, they were just on the news this morning, like, and we're not supposed to judge, but you feel some sort of way because sometimes they both come together at our facility, and you see them and you're like, oh my God, why would you do that? Why would you shoot your wife?
Yeah,
And that's as much as true crime that I've experienced, nothing like
no,
celebrity wise, but
that's exactly what I was kind of curious about because how would you, the person that killed their wife or husband, whichever the situation is, because now you have to work on them and you have to keep good vibes, but I bet the vibe from them is just bad, right? Just want to get it one and done, get it done as quickly as possible, professional, and move on, right? It's so odd feeling.
exactly. And it's like I said, it brings me back to the kids, or like when the mom kills her own children and then she commits suicide. So it's like a homicide suicide case, and we get the little kids, and then we get the mom. And then, but what happens behind the scenes that sometimes we don't know about is, either the husband will come in and say, I don't want to take care of her. I'm just going to focus on my kids. It's a
Yeah,
resentment thing. So now there's like two services now for like the three kids, and then the mom is separate. So they don't want to do it all in one service.
not a good day, not a good clientele to have to help, but that's the name of the game. Do you ever get the stigma of course, you want to be in if if you like dark and creepy things, and you have tattoos and you know, I have tattoos, okay, and I have piercings, so this is not judging you, Sharon too.
No.
I think we're all in
Yep.
the same group here,
Yep.
okay?
Yep. Yep. Tattooed and
Because
pierced.
of course we like true crime and serial killers because of your appearance. Do you get that quite a bit or ever when you talk about your line of business?
Yes, and actually sometimes if I don't know you, I'm pretty private. I just say I'm a receptionist, as I don't want to go into depth, because the first thing that they say is, oh, like, oh, where do you work? Oh, I'm a mortician. Oh, it looks like you're a mortician. And it's like,
Of
it
course they say that.
sucks. Yeah, of course you say that. And don't get me wrong, I love my piercings and my tattoos, and I love people who represent that. But it does suck that it's mainly people that are heavily tattooed and have piercings that are in the industry. And yes, a lot of families might or people do say, well, yeah, sure. You must be in that profession because you like scary movies and you do taxidermy and you do
Yeah.
all these weird things. But it's not just about that. Or the thing that I hate the most is like, oh, that's so cool. You work with dead people, and that to me, it's very like I find it rude
Mm.
because I just don't see it as cool. Like I'm not doing it to be quote unquote cool.
Right. No, like you say, you got into a family experience and just being
Yeah.
empathetic for people, right? It's just something that you saw an experience that wasn't maybe the best, and you said, it's, it's just, it's a calling. I understand. I would be kind of the same way. Uh, I work I'm an artist. So
Oh,
that's what I do for a living mostly, and along with printmaking stickers and labels for a company. I won't say their name, but
like graphic design.
yeah, I do graphic design kind of stuff and illustrations, paintings, that kind of thing. But I think maybe the people that are considered alternative, maybe are
Hmm.
just a little bit more open, right? And that's why there's so many people that could be in the funerary industry because they're creative and they're open and they're just on a different brain wavelength, right? So
True.
whether it's coincidence or not, it's not because, like you said, it's cool to be around dead bodies.
It's
There's a
true.
curiosity, of course, of it,
Mm.
but it would also lead into. I feel like I'm very empathetic as well, and I don't. I think I would feel like they're the family. I think that's the hardest part. It would be for me is the sad family. I would feel their emotions, and
Having
you have to be.
compassion.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true. Or like people who have seen 6 Feet Under, they expect the funeral directors or embalmers to look like Michael C. Hall, or having that generalized conception of that's how they're supposed to look. Or even people don't like the fact that women are in the industry because it used to be such a male dominant uh, job, but now it's like females are now taking over funeral business. There's more female embalmers than there's male embalmers.
where do you think that is?
I think because women, I'm sorry if I'm saying this, Jeff, but women pay attention to detail.
True. This
We're
is
more
Yeah.
very true.
detailed. Yeah, we're more detailed. But you know what?
Yeah,
Men are very strong, so it's easy for them to turn a decedent over and change them. Whereas for us women, it's a little bit harder to work out because we're a little bit scrawnier and we're weak, but we pay attention to detail and our makeup skills are better. And I feel like we have
yeah,
that motherly instinct
that makes
as
sense.
to, yeah.
So teamwork.
And I
You
think for
need
some
both to balance
family
each other.
members, they would prefer a woman dressing and looking after their mother or sister or daughter than a man.
Good point. I
Yeah.
would. It's like going to a doctor. I prefer a female doctor because they're more compassionate, right?
Mhm.
It's the same thing. It's comforting. So I think I can understand that. And yes, especially as I get older, my attention to detail is horrible now. I'm forgetting everything. It sucks. That's what Sharon helps me. She came
Mhm.
on before as a co-host. She helped me organize our dates because I got confused
Yeah.
and lost.
Gonna be here at this time.
She was a good help.
Oh yeah, she's great. And you did mention before, so do you ever get used to the odors? It's kind of like being in pine trees. We no longer smell them because you're living them.
You know what? I will tell you a story, very personal. I don't know if the viewers and you both are going to think that it's gross, but every time I embalm someone with tissue gas, and tissue gas pretty much means like the decedent is, they probably got infected by unsterile instruments, so they have a kind of, we call it the snack crackle pop because you can touch their skin and you can hear the little cracks.
Oh
So
wow.
so they're inflated by gas, and that gas smells like rotten eggs. It's a
Mm.
putrid odor. Um, they're usually marbled, so you can see like their veins are you can see them, and like I said, the texture of their skin. So once you know that you cut into it, gases release and you can smell it, and it's horrible. And every time, even if I put on a mask, I smell it. I think to myself, oh no, the minute I go home and go to the restroom or fart, it's gonna smell like the decedent. And it
It is.
does. Every
Wow.
time I uncover someone and I see tissue gas, all I can think about is like, oh no, my farts are gonna smell. It's really bad.
Yeah. That's a
Um,
thought everybody would have. That's whether people want to talk about it or not. That's what we would
Yeah.
say and think.
that's
It's
what
true.
I'm thinking. It's like no disrespect to the decedent, but it's like,
Of
oh
course
no,
not.
my house is gonna smell like tissue gas,
Yeah.
quote unquote, rotten eggs.
So if you work at a dispensary, you can smell like marijuana. If you work at a funeral home, you can smell like sulfur.
If you
It's
work at a vet clinic, you smell like cat piss.
There you go. God, what's worse between the three?
I rather, and I'm not a fan of cats, but I rather smell like cat piss.
Yeah.
Oh no, no. I don't know. I was covered in cat pee and I didn't realize I'm sitting at the bar at a conference and I could smell it and I'm thinking, what is that smell? What? Oh, it smells disgusting. And then I worked out later it was me.
Oh, they mark their territory.
I
Oh,
actually messaged the hotel and went, I am so sorry. It was me because I was complaining about this smell.
It was
oh
me.
no,
It
it
was
was
me. I'm so
me.
sorry.
That's funny. 'Cause, God, we were curious about that. What the hell that was? We were cleaning all the linens. I had to replace
Yeah.
the mattress. Okay, now we know where the source. So do not get you don't get used to the odors. What can go wrong in embalming? I mean, like, is there pretty much like is there any margin for error, or you can't fuck up at all because shit can go south pretty quickly?
You know what? There is margin for error. Sometimes you might think that the decedent uh took in the arterial fluid, which means they got the embalming fluid throughout their whole limbs, and you're like, oh, he probably got it. And then you see a few days later, I'm like, oh no, he did not get the leg, and it starts to decompose. So that means that the leg didn't get it. So you have to re-embalm the decedent, so to say. So you have to open that femoral artery to inject it and make sure that it doesn't continue decomposing, or you can also, what we call it, we pack it. So packing means on the surface level of the skin to put embalming fluid, which we call cavity fluid. And that preserves the tissue better. So that could be a huge mistake that a person can do. Luckily, it could be fixed because it's a leg, and sometimes you don't see the legs, but it's very crucial that the face is embalmed.
Yeah.
So sometimes some decedents won't get it and they're a little bit soft. We just have to make sure that their face is hard when injecting. So we inject going down and going up, depending on the artery that we choose. I personally like to use the carotid. For me, it's much more easier. A lot of embalmers like to use the femoral, so they inject the whole body using the leg. And I like to inject using the carotid artery and then draining from the jugular vein.
Okay, I was gonna say, where's that located? The carotid towards the neck or the
Yes,
chest?
yes. So you know, like sometimes like, oh, straight to the jugular, like when you get
Yeah.
like a knife right there, that's the main vein that will drain you. But it depends if the decedent has like, you know, like ports or they have an IV. It's a little bit riskier to make an incision there. So that's another reason why the embalmer might use the femoral. Or if they're on the skinnier side, it's a little bit easier to inject there as well.
What are the risks? Is it because the fluid could come out too quick if you go too deep or the wrong area? What makes it kind of tricky?
No, it has nothing to do with that, but sometimes we like to build pressure when we cut the vein. And sometimes if there's already an IV or a port, the vein's already compromised.
Okay. Yep.
So if you cut it, it will already leak out, and it will make it much more harder to find the artery.
Like
That's my personal
like a
opinion.
7-Eleven straw where you're trying to suck through and the bottom got a hole poked in it. It's just not getting that beverage out quite a lot. Maybe that's a bad
Okay analogy. I
Okay,
like
analogy. We'll accept it. Okay.
that. So
But
good.
that
So yeah.
makes sense though. And then what's your work environment like in the back? So I'm sure the front's very uh, formal for the customers. There might be light music or no music, but when you're working, are you allowed to have, can you play the Cure back there? You know, is there like music going on? Is it more like, is it very solemn, or are you guys trying to make it happy as much as possible?
We try to make it as happy as possible. We try to have music that does not have a lot of cuss words.
Yeah.
And I do love The Cure, and I do play them. So it's beautiful to play The Cure. But I'm also a huge metalhead, and that's one thing that I won't play it out loud. I'll probably put just one earphone in just so that I can hear it. But we try when I embalm, even though I'm embalming, I try to dance and just kind of have fun because I still feel like what if I can still bring a smile to the decedent? What if they could see, oh my God, this person's so dumb? Like, what if they think that? I don't know that. I hope they do. Um, or if I'm listening to someone, I'm like, I hope this person likes what I'm listening to. I hope they know who Depeche Mode is. Or or sometimes if one day that I did embalm someone um that had a Misfits tattoo, I played the Misfits.
That's cool.
Or I got someone dressed that had all Scooby-Doo tattoos, and I just kept playing the Scooby-Doo theme song for him, and we I was just singing Scooby-Doo, where are you? While I was just dressing him, and I'm pretty sure he appreciated that.
That's very cool. I would have to check
That's nice to know. Like,
yeah,
show that you go above and
Yeah,
beyond for your clients.
I try to, but yeah, most of my coworkers do listen to music as well. They have their little speaker, um, and yeah, like I said, if it's metal, if I'm in one of those days where I'm in a mood, I put a earphone on because I don't want to blast metal in that type of environment.
can you
But I
imagine.
will put Depeche Mode, The
Yeah,
Cure.
that works. I be careful of Cannibal Corpse. I have to change that playlist.
No Cannibal Corpse, no
No,
Entombed, no nothing, no Mortician either, no.
there's been a little mortician. Imagine what would be a good Cure album? Do you have a preference that you play?
Pornography is such a good album.
It's
My
my
favorite
favorite.
song is Cold.
Yeah, that that's a crazy. In Strange Days. Yeah, that was, I bought that in cassette back in early '90s.
Oh, okay. Because that album came out in like 1983.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
that
I was late to the program only because in the '80s it was all about hair bands. No one where I went to school listened to The Cure. And then the '90s hit and it's grunge and I'm with the mods. We're listening to Skinny Puppy, which I think would be a great artist to listen to while embalming, perhaps, just the gritty industrial music.
some industrial music, I don't think it would fly.
You don't think so? Well, maybe if
No.
it's just for yourself and the earbud there, right?
Ministry though.
Yeah, Ministry would be good.
But in regards to that, I will have to say last year, um, Songs of a Lost World album. If that could be an album that would be played at a funeral, I wish someone could choose that album.
And his song about his brother is heartbreaking. We saw them during that tour in Denver, and it was like I've waited how many years to see The Cure since I was like 14 and to finally see them. And
So
he is
lucky.
just as good as ever, Robert Smith.
Oh,
It was great. I'll probably never, it's kind of, I think it was our last show and I want to retire because I can't handle crowds anymore. And it
oh.
was tough. It was hard because I can't be in crowds.
Are
And the
you
people,
claustrophobic or
yes,
oh
claustrophobic, antisocial, you name it. And I love
Yeah.
people from afar. I'm the guy that parks in the parking lot. I'm like way down there. And if someone parks, I'm like, why did you park next to me? There's like 20 spots over there. I freak out. I don't know. I'm weird.
no. Well, hopefully it's not your last show. Hopefully you go to a show where there's not a lot of people.
Uh, not out here.
Get
It's
rich, get really, really rich, and hire him to play at your own house.
that's our dream. Yeah, we're playing the lottery. We're gonna win. We're gonna have a. We already picked out our farmland that we want. and never
Ooh.
have to leave. Just I want to be with nature and the animals, and that's, but because I've done it. My kids, like, my older boy's 17. He goes, I don't want to live in a small town, so I don't blame you. But I've already done all of it. I've done all the adventures with people. I'm ready to something different. I'd like to travel and see like Scotland and England, see the
Oh,
countryside.
yeah,
I've done
same.
clubs and I've done raves and I've done concerts. I've done it. I don't need to do it anymore. It was
Mhm.
fun. But yeah, those are, and I think Sharon, she likes Alice Cooper, and
Ooh, oh
she
yeah,
was,
yeah. She was mentioning she
Yeah,
liked Alice Cooper.
yeah.
yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
him live
Until
twice.
yeah, I've once for me. I haven't been to many concerts. I've been to Alice Cooper, Kiss, Guns N' Roses, um, Boy George, Culture Club.
Oh, gee.
Pretty
Um,
good.
yeah, that was pretty good. But that's about it, I think. I yeah.
That'd be a whole other
I'm a late
podcast
bloomer. Yeah.
if you want to know
I
all the
had kids
bands I've
really
seen.
early, so I didn't get to go to lots
Same.
of concerts.
I did see Nine Snails during the Fragile tour. A Perfect
Ooh.
Circle opened for him, and I love Maynard. I met him once at a Whole Foods. He was signing his wine bottles, and he said, "Drive safe." And I said, "I will. I will drive safe home." And I have a Perfect Circle symbol tattooed on my chest.
Oh wow.
And I've been
So you're a
to. I'm a Tool fan, but
nice.
it's the dude with beards, and they're 47. It's the typical Tool fan. I don't know if his history. He um he has a winery in Arizona, right? It's near Jerome. He used to have the Pussifer store there, which I think they moved it to Cottonwood, Arizona, which is northern Arizona. His wife runs it. And I had my hair cut by his barber, and you get to hear the cool stories about him coming down. I've seen Tool twice. I've seen a Perfect Circle twice. I've never seen Pussifer though.
Because Pussifer did the soundtrack for, is it Underworld? They had one song.
They were on it for sure. And that's a great
Yeah.
soundtrack.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
they were part of it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I've seen KMFDM, but I saw them and they did a side project called MDFMK. It's just their name backwards. The German industrial band.
Industrial, yeah.
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 Yeah. So like I said, we can go on and on about concerts, but I know I wanted to talk music with you because I figured that all three of us have similar musical tastes.
Yes. Love.
Let's see. So what's currently like your ultimate career goal? Like you're just going to keep learning everything? Do you want to own your own funerary facility someday?
Mm, I don't consider myself a leader. I am more of a follower, to be honest. Like I like being told what to do. I love what I do. If I can work at a facility where I can meet both with the family and embalm, that would be great. Right now, I'm just focusing on embalming. Um, but whenever I get the chance to be with the family, I get very happy. And as a matter of fact, that happened a few days ago. I embalmed someone that passed away from a motorcycle accident, and he was very young, 27 years old. And usually, sometimes the arrangers don't explain to the family the trauma that the decedent has. So when the family sees them, they're in shock. They're like, "Why does he look like that?" And I feel like it's my job to explain that to them. So I called her and I'm like, hey, just to let you know, I'm not sure if anyone told you, but while I was embalming your son has a major incision, an open gash wound on his forehead, and he doesn't have a finger. I would suggest you bringing in a hat or some gloves, or I can try my best to do some restorative art, but I will let you know that he's going to be heavily cosmetized. And she appreciated the fact that I let her know because she didn't know. She didn't know that he had an incision on his forehead. He was at the medical examiner's office, so she wasn't able to see him. So she's scheduled to come in to do a cosmetic check. And I gave her my phone number, like, hey, anything you need, call me, text me. I will be there with you and meet with you. And usually at my facility, we don't do that with the families. That's the arranger's job. So I took some time. I was there with her. I explained everything I did. And she was very happy. She was very happy at the way that he looked, and that made me feel very good. And she already came with that expectation that her son was going to be heavily cosmetized, but she was still okay with it.
That's the role that you like. You don't want to have to be the leader. You're comfortable where you're at.
Yes, I know I
Yeah.
went around the whole question. I'm so sorry.
No, but well, that's the truth in what you said.
Yeah, I would just love to just keep working at funeral homes, and I don't want to be a manager. I don't want to be a supervisor. I hope to someday work for the San Diego Medical Examiner as an autopsy technician. So I would be helping like the pathologist. It would be great to become a pathologist too, but that's so much education and hard work. So my hat goes off to all the pathologists out there. Um, I'm nowhere near that, but I would love to do that. But if it has to do with me making someone look alive, quote unquote alive, or meeting with families and assuring them that their loved one is in in good care, I would still like to take that role.
That's very cool. That's a good
Yeah.
approach to it. Now, how about some of the controversy in this world, such as like with the show The Mortician?
Oh, Jesus. I am so angry at that show. Uh,
Yeah.
but I'm glad that they're doing it. But at the same time, we've have gotten families in our facility that say, are you guys going to steal his shoes? Are you guys going to steal his teeth? Are you guys going to, like now they have this misconception of what we
Yeah.
do in our job.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating because that makes us look like vultures, like we don't care.
Creates
Um,
a fear. It's a big things happening. I know in Denver area had where it's you're not getting them probably your actual same ashes of your loved ones for whatever reason. There was in Arizona where like the bodies are just stacked for some reason. There's a lot of miscare in some of these facilities, not all, but it only takes one or two to bring everyone's attention, right?
exactly.
So
Exactly. And everyone now is on HBO, so they're like, "Oh, what is this show?" And then they see the whole thing with David Sconce of what he did and his family at this funeral home in LA. And it's just devastating that there's no way that someone can cremate over 100 bodies in one cremation chamber. And what happens is, like he mentioned, he just broke their arms, broke their legs, and that's such mutilation. That's negligence.
like,
Yeah.
he has such balls to go on that show too. Like when I
Exactly.
started watching, they're talking about this guy, and he's there. I'm like, what? Actually being interviewed?
Yeah, he doesn't say that he did anything wrong.
Right.
Exactly. He's
Yeah.
just like nothing happened. And it was funny because my teacher
Dead, it doesn't matter. They're dead, they have no feelings. It doesn't matter. He doesn't consider the feelings of the families that are left behind.
Total
It's
wrong business for this
completely
guy.
disrespectful.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
his family, right? That's kind of passed down to him.
Well,
So
his parents did the exact same thing too. It's like they
yeah,
covered for him.
yeah.
Yeah. They knew. They had to have known.
Yeah, they did. And it's funny because even my teacher was interviewed in that documentary, Miss Grande, and she even said, "Oh wow, you're interviewing him? That's crazy." And then sure enough, he shows up and it's like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that he had no remorse, and the fact that now they're saying that he murdered his competitors as well.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, how much of a greedy person are you for you to do that?
Mm.
I guess it would explain his level of mental illness. I guess you would say it's he's a criminal, and that's why he can defend
Yeah.
himself. Anybody else would say, yeah, I fucked up a couple times. We got behind on something, or we made a mistake. We're trying to cover it up. Even that is horrific, but to go as
Mm.
far as that, and then now everyone, hopefully that dies out after a while. These documentaries always causes some unnecessary panic, right?
It's true. But
Yeah.
like I think I was telling Sharon, it's like they just stopped at or episode 3, I'm sorry, and I was waiting last Sunday for it to for a new episode, and I haven't seen anything, so I don't.
You think it's only three? Did it kind of trail off, or you're expecting something else to happen?
I was expecting more to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was just three episodes. I was
No,
expecting.
I looked it up and it said just 3 episodes, but I mean, he's gone back to prison.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
So
There'll be
yeah,
more, I'm sure, later to cover that side of it.
yeah,
Or something legal happened where it just kind of dropped off. It's like My So-Called Life. We only got 19 episodes in here, and here's what we got.
yeah. But I mean, even his employees, the ones that were loading up the kilns, they knew what was going on. They
Yeah.
didn't speak up, and I believe some of them were gang members.
Hmm.
So who's to say they haven't just some gang rival murders go happening and then just gone, in you
Yes.
go with the rest.
That would be a crazy cover. It'd be like if you bought an old Victorian home and it has a cemetery in your property. Who's to say you can't dispose of bodies that way
Mm,
unethically, right? But yeah, if you are working at a funeral home, you might have access to,
yeah,
yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's the one guy that comes on the show and he's like, you can't see his face and his voice is distorted.
he's blurred.
And he's obviously a gang member, I think, that's either escaped the gang or, turned tattletale. But he says, I know stuff, but I can't say, or else I'm going to get into trouble. And, so
Too late.
the story is a lot bigger. The story is, yeah, I believe there's more to the story.
I do too. That's why I'm just waiting, and
Yeah,
it's crazy. I know
that's
I
good
would
as
have been
well.
murdered or shot if I would have seen something like I'm like, hey, this is unethical. I would have probably been murdered, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've learned you don't tell them you're going to tell on them. You just go tell. You don't go, I'm going to tell on you because that's
yeah,
when you get murdered.
yeah.
That's true.
That's like my kids. I'm gonna tell them if you don't let me play Fortnite today.
Oh.
On a personal note, not so personal, but you kind of mentioned earlier about oddities. So, do you do taxidermy? Do you collect oddities?
I do. So I do both. I don't sell my items. I used to be very invested in taxidermy and oddities. I'm a huge rabbit collector because my first pet was a rabbit. So I have a huge love for rabbits. And I wish you guys can see, or the viewers can see my collection. My dog is also taxidermied. My close friend worked on my dog. I couldn't do him, but I have his
Wow.
heart and his skull. Um, there was only one person I did taxidermy for, and that was my best friend who he passed away. And he wanted a duck. He loved ducks. So that was my first actual bird I did because they're pretty hard to reconstruct and to do for the feathers, for me personally. And I swore I would never give anyone any oddity or taxidermy gifts, but he was one of a kind. He still is one of a kind, but yeah, that's I need to get back into taxidermy. I haven't done that ever since I've been in school. I haven't really done much. I've been a really boring person. Uh, but that was
Not
one of my
really.
huge hobbies
You
before.
embalm
I,
people. I
I
don't think
wouldn't
you're a
say
very
you're
boring
boring.
person. Far from it.
You've got a very interesting job.
Yes. Time
Thank you.
consuming. And then Sharon, you also, so I, yeah, I have oddities too. I have a little squid, and I have tarantulas, and I have we have a gaff of two ducks gaff. I don't know if you remember on Melrose going to Necromantic when that was open.
Yes, I love that shop.
Yeah,
That's
I
where
don't,
it was. I don't think they're there anymore.
they're not there, and I don't think they have their Etsy store anymore. But that's where we bought our first, like freeze dried, I guess you call it bat. We had,
Yes, they had all
yeah,
these oddities, and I guess
yes,
it was like Bearded Lady, and they had classes too for taxidermy. They had the little mice. But now I guess now it's the Mystic Museum.
is it? I haven't been there. I love Melrose. They had like something a go-go was there, like a clothing store in Creepville or something,
Oh, Halloween Town is close by too.
Halloween Town, and
Oh yeah, Halloween Town.
yeah, a lot of stores are closing down. There was a
It was a I don't know if it was because of the fire because there was a fire near there.
was there,
Yeah. Um,
but yeah,
but
that's the cool part. And we would go to Freddy Krueger's house to see where it was
Yes.
filmed there. Don't go there now because the current owner doesn't like people there and gets really pissed off, apparently.
Well, I
Right.
don't know
But
if you've been to the Sugarman Gallery,
no.
because the Michael Myers house is right behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Cool things
it's
to see. Have you ever been to the Museum of Death? I've always wanted to
I
go there.
I've always wanted to go there, and I've
Right.
never been.
Because I
I've
want
been
to
to the one in
see,
LA, but that
yeah.
before it moved, like in 2016.
They move locations, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I don't
No,
know if they still have it. So I'm a big Roz Williams fan, and I don't know if you listen to Christian Death or know
Christian
Roz
Death,
Williams.
yes. His
Supposedly,
cenotaph is in Hollywood Forever.
yeah, yeah. He
Mhm.
has his ashes in second floor there. I remember
No, his I don't think his ashes are there.
not
It's just
not
a
anymore.
memorial. So I think his spouse, I'm not sure if Eva O has his remains. Um,
Some was spread out at some canyon that he used to go to, so they might have an urn there. I don't know if his ashes are in it. She might, Eva O, yeah, she might have some of his ashes.
yes, but I think it's just kind of like it's a cenotaph, so it's kind of like they do have an
Yeah.
urn, but I don't think nothing's in there. It's just for
Oh
people
yeah.
to just play to just go and pay respects. Um,
I
so
couldn't
that's
find it.
nice.
This is, I don't know, almost 30 years ago. I went there. This is before we had Google Maps, and he had those little, he had an actual map. And I was driving around just trying to find cemeteries. You're me in Hollywood and then driving up to random cemeteries. Like, do you know this Roz Williams here? And then who? He can find them easy now, but I wish. Yeah, I never found it because I think that at one point in time, the Museum of Death had his closet where he unalived himself. It was on
No,
display in some of his room.
no.
And Eva O, of course, was his wife at one point in time and bandmate. And she was recently on Richard Ramirez documentary. Like she used to write Richard Ramirez,
Wow.
which like they kind of took. She was in it kind of quite a bit. And I've been trying to reach out to her. Obviously, she's not getting back to me because I love to have her on the show. Just ask her about Roz and about Richard Ramirez, which kind of ties into true crime, right?
Yes, I could. I won't say I can try helping you, but funny enough, my I'm still going back with that. I don't want to. My ex-fiance, we're still good friends. He's a DJ and he's in a death rock band, and he knows Eva O. So I've seen her a couple of times back in the day.
Yeah,
So maybe I can let him know, and
yeah. I mean, open to
yeah.
that. She doesn't look at her Facebook messages. But yeah, I
So
mean, and as far as with that, so are you into true crime at all?
if you were every time I hear true crime, for me, I think of John Wayne Gacy.
That's
That's
true crime. Yeah.
yes. So I do follow him, but I know that you and Sharon are passionate. So I mean, even though I know some of it, I'm gonna say no, just because I'm not very knowledgeable, like how both of you are.
No, it's something we ask all of our guests because it's it was kind of the what started our shows where we teach the ins and outs of it's like pen paling 101, the do's and the don'ts. We don't usually say names, only a couple that they give us permission to, and we don't talk about their crimes because they don't like to be known for that. But
Mhm.
especially with Hollywood, tons of sites, even paranormal, like Cielo Drive, where the Sharon Tate house is. I don't know if you ever thought about doing a pilgrimage to there.
Mhm.
There's the David Oman house. I don't know if you heard of David Oman. He lives on
No.
Cielo Drive, and his house is really haunted. And he suspects that Sharon Tate and Jay Sebring, if you're familiar with the case, kind of haunt that area. The Dearly Departed tours used to go there quite a bit
Yes.
with Scott. I forget his last name. He's in Palm Springs now, I think, and I don't think he has his museum anymore.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I love Hollywood. I couldn't live there, but I would go
Mm.
crazy with the stuff I can have access to, like Griffin Park. I was going to ask you, do you ever heard of the haunted picnic table 29?
No,
This is
but
a, it's, I'll give you the story on it. It's rumored that on, it was like October 31st, 1976, a couple named Rand and Nancy were up there. it's kind of like a makeout place. It's a picnic table. It's you know, you go. I think it's near the Back to the Future tunnel. A lot of movies filmed in this tunnel.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
we
an
drove through
entrance.
that one. Yeah.
Did you? That's great.
Yeah.
And there's a pathway where you can't. It's a road, and I think the park rangers can drive up there, but you can't really drive up there. So it's kind of like a 2 mile walk. If you, as long as you don't get lost in Griffith Park, because it's huge, right?
Hmm.
And you can find that all the picnic tables are numbered. There's number 29, and they were sitting there being romantic on Halloween, and a tree branch fell on them and killed them. Apparently, allegedly,
Oh.
there's no police report of this happening, and so the branch it broke, was still part of the tree. And there's another rumor that I guess a week, 2 weeks later, one of the workers was with a chainsaw and they were trying to cut the part of the branch. And they, I don't know how we know, because once you hear the story, like, how would you know this? If Because he died apparently with a heart attack. His truck was still running and he died there. They said from fright. But I'm like, how would you know that if he's dead? Right? How would he
Mhm.
didn't say what happened to him. But it's odd that, and again, I don't think there's any official police reporting on this, but it's become kind of a folklore. Even the drummer from Poison, was his Ricky Rackman? He has
Ricky
a
Rocket.
Ricky Rocket Rackman. That's the
I love
MTV.
Poison.
Poison.
Right. Yeah, I've seen them too live. Not that you asked.
Oh, I haven't seen them at all.
I've seen
I
I
haven't.
Poison.
love Brett Michaels.
I would
Yeah,
love to see Bret Michaels for sure.
Yeah.
yeah. I've seen him solo. I've seen Brett Michaels without Poison. Like,
Yeah.
you name a band, I've almost seen it. But anyway, so yeah, he's if you when you have time, Google it.
Okay.
Haunted Picnic Table 29. There's tons of YouTube
29.
videos on it. He goes up there, and people do EVPs. I think Jake Weber from your areas might have been up there. Uh, yeah, it's like I said, there's such crazy folklore out there. Is there any folklore that you're aware of that you follow?
Just here, I'm not sure if you're familiar, here at the Whaley House, in San Diego.
Yep.
Uh, so it's also that I've been there 3 times now, trying to see if, like I said, I haven't experienced anything. So I was kind of like, third time's the charm, I guess. So I went and did my tour and nothing. I even went by myself to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado,
Yep. Yep. Not
and
far from here.
yeah, and nothing. I did the tour, the night tour. We visited a room. It was 217 and 237. And nothing. I People swore there that they touched them, and I'm like, I didn't experience anything, and I was there by myself. I had
That
no one to
sucks.
like hold on to or anything. I'm like, I guess I am not meant to experience anything
And
paranormal.
that's not cheap. And yeah, I've crazy stories. I think our best one was also in that town I mentioned, Jerome, where they have the Pussifer store, used to, because he has like a winery store and he does pizza there. But there's the
Hmm.
Jerome Grand Hotel. It used to be a hospital and a sanatorium. Go figure. Beautiful. It's up on the hillside, and you could spend the night there and you could take a tour. There was a caretaker that years ago passed away. The elevator somehow crushed him from down below, and they have like an outline of where he was at. And you would think, like, it doesn't move that fast. Why wouldn't he move out of the way? They're thinking maybe he was held down because it decapitated him. And that place, it was active. If didn't believe in spirits then, I do now. We heard a guy in the middle of the night say, like, yelled out, "Mom!" We saw a woman go into the bathroom and disappear, and she was wearing like old time, like, nurse type outfit.
You saw that?
Yeah. But when you see it, you're like, and you tell people, said, I know it sounds weird, but can't explain it. I don't, it was, she walked in the bathroom and wasn't there. Yeah. I think we're in the room where someone jumped out of the window. It's pretty common. And we've spent the night in Bisbee, Arizona. These are all like mining towns. So it's big from, they had gunfights and prostitution. So they're pretty heavy on paranormal. We spent the night in the Oliver House. Remember, Sharon, when Jimmy and Renee were
Yeah.
talking about that?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
honeymooned there, and they had 26 deaths, 32, so like a high number. And we spent our honeymoon there. Nobody else is there. Even the owner didn't spend the night there. She gave us the key and we're by ourselves. But it was very inviting. Like, the doors open and close. When I showered, I heard someone outside the shower talking to me, but it was never scared. It was almost like they liked us there because we respected it. And when we're together, me and my wife, like, that's when things happen. We're kind of like that conduit that really creates the energy. So
Oh wow, that's crazy.
yeah,
Well, it was kind of like now I've been following recently with the Annabelle doll with Dan Rivera, that he passed away
yeah.
from, moving the doll. So, there's half of the people that believe that, oh my God, he touched it, so he died, or it was just a cardiac arrest. So I still don't know what he passed away from, but is it a coincidence or is it paranormal activity?
Hard to
We don't know.
say. Yeah, I don't know why you'd want to take her on tour. I mean, I can know why you'd want to. It's people like to see. It's a moneymaker, but it's like Robert the doll from Florida. You
Hmm.
have to ask permission to talk to it, to take pictures, but what don't move it. People like if you take pictures or if you don't say goodbye,
Oh yeah, like the
then
doll.
it haunts
You have
you.
to say hello and goodbye.
Right. And people send tons of letters and emails apologizing because they think that things happen afterwards because of
Yeah,
that. So there's people that go into that. So
yeah, it's true.
let's see what else. Sharon, do you have anything for
Um, just myths. Is there any myths that you want to debunk? Like that people think happen at um or when the autopsies are done, which is not you, but when they come in, like is there just a bag of body bits just thrown back in?
Actually, yes, it is true. So we do get like it's in a red bag, and all the organs are in that bag inside the cavity of the decedent.
Yep.
So that's when the family asks, they think that we do that, and it's like, no, we don't do that. We don't touch the organs. We preserve the organs, but that the medical examiner did it. They did it, not
Yep.
us. So that's one. Or when they're like, "What do you guys save the blood?" And we're like, no, we drain the blood. And they're like, oh, where does it go to? It's like, well, we drain it and it goes out our pipe and into our hopper, which is kind of like a little toilet. But no, a lot of people think, oh, well, you save the blood and do you donate it? That we don't do that.
dead blood? I
Well,
don't think he could donate
regulate it.
it, right?
Won't, yeah, it's
It's no
But
longer
no,
good.
but
no
that's
longer, yeah.
that's some questions that families do ask, or they say, "Did you remove my loved one's eyeballs?" And it's like, no, we did not, unless the family decides to have the corneas or like a body donation. So that's prior to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whole different ball of
Um,
wax.
do
Hmm.
you cut the tongues out? Like
Uh, I'm sorry, what was that?
tongues, because it all swells up.
Oh,
Do the tongues have to be removed sometimes, or
I never heard that. I've never encountered anyone who has removed the tongue. Sometimes, yeah, the tongue does swell up and it's kind of out, but we kind of
yeah,
push it back. And once we close the mouth, the tongue will be behind the teeth.
yeah, okay, yeah. That's just one I found on Google, and I'm like, okay, I think I'll ask.
Yeah, no. Let me think of no other myths that or what families ask. Mm, we have like going back to requests to like cut the piece of hair for them, like a lock of hair. Um, but any other myths that I can think of besides the blood? Uh, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think that's
All that makes
yeah.
me think
You've
of,
already
and
answered the other questions, so
yeah,
yeah,
well, I mean, that's in line of, I don't, true crime subject again is Nico Clos, right? The vampire of Paris. He was a former
mm,
mortician. He might be someone to look into. Uh, yeah, he was a mortician, and he was a cannibal. If you can see where I'm going with that,
Oh wow.
so he would sample some of his guests.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and he had another crime after that. We don't have to get into. but he's a free man now, and he has a website and he does books and things, and is reformed. But yeah, he was on the dark side of that type of career.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
I think what I did read, I think this happened in Texas, was a mortician who knew that the person that she was embalming was a sex offender and a pedophile. So when she embalmed him, she knew that. And what she did was she cut off his penis and she stuffed it in his mouth and sutured his mouth. So there was a lot of controversy on that, whether was it A, ethical, or B, did he deserve it? And, you know, I understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, we were taught that despite what anyone does, we're all treated the same after the fact.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't make that choice. I mean,
Yeah.
as they would say, no jury would convict her, but
Unprofessional.
yeah, it's not
Yes, and I know
professional.
that's angering. I mean, that's a horrible thing to do. I mean,
Yeah,
being to do that, but at the same time, we're no one to judge
right.
what they did. They probably are gonna serve their time somewhere if they believe in that,
Yeah.
but that's not our call, you
Because
know?
you think that where's the line that you would draw? I mean, if you're okay to do something like that, then are you going to cut corners and do something unethical after that as well?
Exactly.
So
And that's one thing. It's like, yeah, the funeral home is probably people think, oh yeah, nothing happens at a funeral home. It's so peaceful, so drama free. Let me tell you, it's the complete opposite. There's so much drama at a funeral home, but I feel that if something were to be unethical, that would be my point of being like, you know what, I'm out of here. When it comes to that. But other than that, the funeral home people there are ugly. People are mean. So that's
just
that's
like
all.
everywhere else,
That's true. Yeah,
right?
every work environment, but you would think that a funeral home would be calm and collective, but
You would
it's
think that would
you would think.
definitely be a place where you have to find inner peace because you have to project to your clients. But yeah, I guess
Yeah.
without having to like get specifics, like what would be the most dramatic thing that people would argue about as far as employees?
Poor management,
Yeah,
it would be one, or people who have been there for a long time, like they've been like 15 years plus, who are clearly checked out of the industry and
yeah,
are still there. So you can tell that they're just doing it now for a paycheck. And you can tell, and you're just like,
time to
sometimes it's
retire.
not the energy. Yeah, it's not the energy that you want there.
You got to be on your game daily. You can't just have really a. You can have a bad moment, but you can't have repetitive bad days.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think we're I don't know almost 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes. See, I told you it would go by fast. It's like a conversation with friends,
It's true.
right?
I feel like I just said hi to you guys.
Exactly. I mean, there's always more. I had more questions, but maybe some, part two some other time, right?
That's true. If the viewers are okay with it, hopefully.
Oh, I'm sure that, yeah, of course. This has been very interesting. Thank you for coming
And
on,
listeners, I'm sorry.
listeners.
Listeners.
We've got listeners and viewers. Are
We
we
do have a
doing this,
few.
putting this on YouTube? So yeah.
Yeah, there's YouTube. I need to get back on Spotify. I kind of been lazy on that because I used to do some crazy intros of, it was like I was Ogre from Skinny Puppy and I was mixing different soundscapes and movies and effects.
That's awesome. Yeah, I heard that. And I
Yeah.
was just like, okay, okay.
Yeah, but no, this is gonna have a cool intro. I don't know if you've seen our YouTube ones, but it's got a very nice Canva opening. I'm see if I can find one for the mortuary, something Halloweeny. That'll
Halloween.
work out. And yeah, that's great. Thank you again for joining us again. Must respect
Yes.
what you
Thank you.
do,
Thank
your
you for
field.
having me.
Yeah,
No
spread the word,
worries.
of course.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, my name
Thank
is
you. I
Jeff,
appreciate you both.
And yes, thank you.
and this is the Jeff Show. We call it Ain't It a Crime? Ain't It a Crime if you're not listening to this episode because it was fabulous. And good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.